Okay, Alexei Shirov, I think he's from Spain, and Judith Polgar. So game started with e4, c5, knight f3, e6 here, d4, pawn takes, knight takes, then knight to c6, knight to c3. This is, I think, played. Okay, this is also the old game, 1994. This was played in 1994. Yeah. Hmm. So after knight c6, knight c3, then d6, then g4. This was the modern idea at that time. The reason for white to play this move is, as black has built a solid and this solid center. So to challenge that, this is usually one of the idea that if someone, if let's say your opponent has is attacking from the center, the counter attack should come from the flank, and the opposite. If your opponent is attacking in the, let's say, from the flank, so you have to do counter attack either from center or from the other flank, but generally from the center only you have to do the counter attack. So here there is a strategic counter attack, that black is building up a strong center. So white is trying to build a strong or you can say gain a lot of space on the flanks. So a6,
Okay.
bishop to e3, then knight g to e7. Generally we develop the knight on f6. Okay, but here we are developing it on e7. The reason is, first is, the knight cannot attack on this g5 pawn, and if let's say knight goes here on f6, there is always a threat of pawn to g5 push. So that's why, for this reason, in this position knight has went on the e7. Okay, so sometimes you have to change the development according to the requirement. Then knight to b3 was played, then pawn to b5. Now black, as usual, we have discussed, from when you are playing Sicilian, from black side, black always has to attack from the queen side. And pawn to f4, then bishop to b7, queen to f3, just developing the pieces. And here, like a very powerful move that was played by black was pawn to g5. Can you think why pawn to g5 was played?
Uh, one way.
Think, take your time. Because it's very unusual to think of such a move, pawn to g5. Here actually the game has
Pawn to
also
G5.
announced. I'll just click here.
Pawn to G5 is a very important move.
It's a very nice move. Hmm. It's unusual move, you can say, because you cannot think of pawn g5.
Mm.
But what do you think? What could be the plan for pawn to g5? And it's not a mistake, huh?
Okay. If white takes. Mm, mm,
Yeah, in the game, what has happened was white took it. But why? Like he's
mm.
giving up this pawn here, even when black's king is in the center only. But still, black decides to play this pawn g5 move, because this is just a free pawn.
Then we can maybe play knight g6. So what we have done is we have basically the three white pawns that were coming, that were marching towards the king side. We have kind
Okay.
of neutralized that attack and blocked the bishop or dark bishop with its own pawn.
Yes. Yes. Correct. So in a way, black is trying to like what you can say, cancel out the attack what white is trying to do. And if white doesn't
Yeah.
take this pawn, then black is going to take.
Mm,
So just white decides to take this and have a pawn up in the game. Then comes knight to e5, attacking the queen. Queen has to go back, so it
mm,
goes on g2. Then pawn to b4, attacking the knight. Knight goes on e2. So slowly, as you can see, black is pushing the pieces away. Okay. So here what has happened? Black has given up a pawn and gained some activity, you can say. Compared
mm,
to white, black has more activity now. Black's pieces are
mm,
like not all pieces are very well placed, but these pieces which are developed are very nice. This rook can anytime come into attack. This queen is free to come into the game anytime. This pawn is gaining lot of space here. Here, this pawn structure
mm,
is damaged for white, so black can target it at correct time. So in a way, you can see
mm,
in for pawn, black has lot of compensation.
mm.
So comes the move h5 here now. Okay, because the pawn structure was damaged. Maybe he would play something like h4 himself and try to consolidate the pawn structure.
Hello.
Okay, hello. Huh. Okay,
Yeah.
so this was the position, and here black played pawn to h5. White played g takes h5, but this was not a good move. Okay, uh, after but let's say what else if he takes with the uh, fifth rank pawn, then g takes, bishop takes, rook takes was coming up, and then maybe castle, white could do castle something like that, and like
Maybe just queen h3,
queen to
h3.
h3 now, knight takes pawn.
Yeah.
This pawn is the hanging, so like he can recover it. Black is ready to recover, but here white just took the knight f5 using the pin. Bishop went back on f2 because it was under attack.
Mm.
Then queen takes pawn. Simple forking
Nice.
ideas. If queen will
Yeah,
take,
yeah, yeah.
just a second.
Yeah, okay, nice.
Mouse got disconnected. Hmm. Here, here black played queen takes pawn. The idea is if white takes, then this fork is coming and simply winning the pawn back. So here
Mm.
white played bishop, sorry, knight to a5.
Just queen takes.
Here he played knight e3 instead of taking the queen. Again, the strong idea is that threatening to mm, hmm. Here again the strong idea is threatening to take the queen, threatening for this fork. So here just queen g3. So first it took, knight takes, Then knight fork, king goes on d1. Now knight takes rook, knight takes the other pawn, and pawn to b3. The thing is, as this knight is like packed inside, so black wants to just get it out. So just she played pawn to b3, so that the knight can come out from this square, even if the opponent plays e3. So pawn takes, knight takes, then king c2. Knight has to run back to c5. Knight takes, pawn takes. Now look at this position. Let's see what is happening here again. Here, black's pieces are, you can say, not developed yet, because all those which were developed, black has exchanged. Only this knight is developed. This bishop is okay, it can get developed, but not developed yet. These rooks are also behind the pawns and not connected. And if we look at the white, this knight, this bishop looks nice. This bishop is targeting here. This bishop is also okay, like it has the like full diagonal, but this rook is not doing anything at all. This rook will require two steps at least to come in the game. And
Mm,
if you look at the pawn structure, white has a very damaged pawn structure, and black has a very good pawn structure here. So strategically, black will have the advantage if white don't do anything here itself. And here, as the queens are not there on the board, so the immediate attack is not coming anyway. Also,
mm,
black is a exchanger, so that also like compensates for this inactivity of the pieces.
mm,
So bishop to e1, knight goes to f3, bishop to c3, just knight d4 check, king d3, bishop d6, bishop g2, bishop to e5, then king goes on c4. One more thing here, as we can see, this knight is on the fifth rank. Okay,
mm,
so we have discussed this, that knight is should be better than a bishop. But why
mm.
is this bishop not taking this knight anytime? The thing is, that's like that is completely correct, that this
It's
knight
already
is better
pinned, so
than
it cannot
bishop.
move.
Huh? What happened?
Maybe because it is pinned and it is useless for now.
You mean knight is useless? No, no, no. Here, to he black only played this. No, here white has so many chances to take. Like here only, if you will see this, here has the chance to take and even take this pawn. This chance is there, but still white didn't took. Okay, because here there is one more thing. Like
Bishop pair advantage.
what?
Bishop pair advantage.
Okay, bishop pair advantage, and also the thing is, when your position is not good, for here white is the one whose position is not good, you should avoid exchanging the pieces and try to exchange more and more pawns.
Mm,
This is the concept. The reason is, if you will exchange out the remaining pieces also, the position will remain worse. But if you will have the pieces on board, there are chances of some this counter attack, or something. If opponent goes wrong somewhere, then you will have the immediate counter attack coming up, and you can come back in the game. Okay,
okay.
so that's why he is not taking. Are you like following the games of Chess Olympiad?
Yeah, yeah. I just uh, finished those games. I was watching that morning.
Okay. So yesterday's game,
In
have you
fact,
seen the
yesterday also I
points?
was. Array, yeah, yeah. It was such a. I mean, I
So the
was
same thing
watching it for hours and
that has
hours.
happened. Only because the queens were there on the board, uh, Gukesh's opponent has
Norbit.
got the chance to do counter attack. So that's why, like what was his name? Nordibek. Nordibek didn't wanted to exchange any of the
Not
pieces.
even.
Yeah, he didn't want to exchange any of the pieces, so that anyway, any
Hmm.
of like your opponent goes wrong, you get a chance. So that's the perfect example, like of the recent times. Even with a single queen, it can happen. So putting even a slight bishop here against this knight is also okay in that terms. So bishop g2, bishop e5, king c4, king e7, rook a1, knight to c6. Here I don't know why it is like in the Lichess it's written it has resigned, but I think there are like some more moves, like just king c5 was played. After that, bishop to c3, pawn c3, and rook h to c8. And here the game ended, and black won the game here. So we will look at this, what has happened again one more time. So it was a Sicilian defense. Takes, knight c6, knight c3, d6, g4. White have this idea of attacking from the flank, but I think it went wrong somewhere. Then a6, bishop e3, knight g e7. We discussed this why knight didn't went to f6, so that the g5
Hmm.
threat don't come up. Knight b3, b5, f4. One more thing is white is pushing lot of pawns. Bishop b7,
Hmm.
queen to f3, and this was the move of the game. Pawn to g5. What if this? Let's see pawn push. What do you think? Because
First,
other
I
than
will go
taking
with,
the pawn, there was a chance to like just
yeah.
push the pawn.
First, I will go with knight e5.
Hmm. Knight e5, then queen has to pawn g2 to protect this pawn.
Then
Then
maybe simply h6.
mm, playable, but this is also coming up.
Okay, then
Here you can simply take na.
yeah, but again, they'll connected pawns, no?
No, once he takes, you have knight takes using the pin.
Okay, okay,
If he
okay, yeah.
plays queen takes, so then it's good for us only. Takes, takes, and then this knight too you can save anywhere. But let's find the best square for now. Anywhere e2, g2, fine. Because from g2 it can come on this e6 and then c5. Sorry, it's g7, e7. So it can come this way. Oh, there is this also. Check. It was previously also, I guess. Yeah, yeah. And takes, knight takes. Now if the queen takes comes, then directly this check. If bishop takes also comes, then again queen takes bishop. Same threat. If he takes, this
Hmm.
pinto is always be useful. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is completely winning for black. So that's why that won't work. So takes. Any other move you have? You may think of this bishop takes. What can you play here as black?
Knight takes pawn.
Knight takes pawn looks little risky. The reason is pawn push. Now where will you go with the knight? That's the problem, because if you come back, this is there. And if you play this, then maybe just takes, take, 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 and you lost the exchange here. Okay, so that won't be preferable. So just pawn takes is good. Okay, and this is having solid position, threatening for this fork, because now this move will not be of any use. Just rook g8, and the position is completely fine, and black is doing very well. Okay,
Okay.
and here let's say after this, what if, let's see something, if we have, maybe you can try for f6 here, maybe. But then just bishop goes back, and again there is this threat, because now your knight has to move somewhere, and then once the knight will move, he is ready to take, and the same variation is about to happen, and there are no checks coming up from black side, so
Hmm.
no intermediate moves even. Okay, so just pawn takes is good here. This doubled pawns get undoubled, and it's completely fine position. Knight is very well placed at correct point. Here you don't even need to castle, I guess, because first thing is you are threatening here, so bishop has to go back. Still you can give a check, no problem. Then maybe knight here, and you can continue with this. It's possible. So this is more comfortable. So in the game, what has happened was takes, took the free pawn, and knight e5. Queen has to go back, and pawn push. So black has pushed all the pieces of white towards this, or what you can say, make it inactive. Then h5 was again a brilliant move. Then pawn takes, knight to f5 using the pin. Then just queen takes, then just knight e3 here. Just all the tactics coming up. So just takes, and check, and win the rook here. Exchange up, completely fine position for black. Double bishop cannot like were not even useful here. Just good knight in the center, and then this knight went back. Takes, he exchanged. Black has exchanged, and here white has resigned, because white really has no moves coming up. That's the problem.